Good afternoon, and welcome to another analysis of fast-moving events called diatribes from the brilliant voice of doom. And now here's your ever-enlightening host, voice of doom. Thanks. I'm going to do an afternoon quickie before and by quickie it's not like what you think, because I don't do that anymore. Quick diatribe, because things are moving fast and I thought I'd get some info in before everybody's too panicky to even pay attention to anything. Just kind of go through some key players, some people that we're kowtowing to right now. Proxies of our overlords, and the people that will be reorganizing the government on this land mass that used to be called America in a few years. Malawi Hibatullah Akhundzada. He's the leader of the Taliban, as far as people know. But you see, what they do is they have their leaders be kind of undercover, kind of shadowy, you don't really know if they're still alive or if they were alive, or it's kind of like Mullah Omar, which you guys should check into, was the head of the Taliban when the buildings went down. And he was a very shadowy figure, and nobody really knew if he was dead or alive, and he kind of ruled from the background, but he was a constant presence in people's minds as the supreme mysterious person pulling all the strings. So it's Malawi Hibatullah Akhundzada. And that's not a name that you can have and be a big-time dictator, leader, murderer. Gotta shorten it, so he's shortened it to Amir al-Mu'minin, which is even hard. I'm sure he'll shorten it to something more catchy soon, if he lives. Now we have the trifecta of Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar, who's the political deputy, and Mohammed Yaqub, which is the deputy, and Sirajuddin Haqqani, which is a deputy. And I already told you that a couple of them will end up dead, because that's the way it is, and I predict it'll be Mohammed Yaqub. Now, he's the son of Mullah Omar. That's why he has a certain special place and a certain, I guess you call it, privilege by family lineage. That's their idea of kind of a monarchy, is, the mullah and the son of the mullah and the daughter, well, not the daughter, but, it's a mullah. And I say M-O-O-L-A-H, mullah. Because they're waiting for mullah, and they're going to get mullah. They already have some mullah, but they want more. So those are the three, and the reason I say Yaqub will be the one to be the sacrificial lamb is because he's the most moderate. He was the one that was going along with a coalition government in Afghanistan, which was the stipulation that our last president made, that there was going to be a coalition government as we started to pull out. And we would probably pull out our Americans and our assets first and take all of our technology first and then maybe get the troops out. He probably might have done it that way. I can't read his mind. I really can't. I can just say I think he's smarter than me, and that's how I would have done it. Amir al-Mu'minin, the leader, otherwise known as Malawi Hibatullah Akhundzada, is from Kandahar, and he's from the Nurzai tribe, which is rather tribal, rather primitive, and rather murderous, and rather draconian, and rather 8th century. So that's the setup we got. Those are the people we'll be answering to. Those are the people that will be asking permission to, go and save people from Japan. Good guys. Ahmad Massoud, I told you about him. He's kind of a celebrity. I looked through a little bit of his stuff, and he's kind of getting more prominent. And he has, like, glossy photos of himself. So there's something there. I don't know if it's good or bad. I think it's good. Amrullah Saleh is the vice president of what used to be the Afghani government under Ghani, who is Ghani. And he decided he wasn't going to be Ghani. And he's either a Gandhi or he's one of the greatest gamblers of all time, because he's either gambling that he doesn't get hung and be lucky to be hung when he gets caught, because he will be caught by staying in Afghanistan. And he's gambling that if somehow, against all odds, somehow things go back to where they were 2 or 3 weeks ago, he might come out on top. And maybe he's an opportunist, but he's gambling his life for the opportunity. So, got to think about that. You can't trust everybody completely. And the reason that he may be a Gandhi is because if he's sincere that he wants to help Afghanistan as a country and as a people, and he's going to do it by not being a coward and running away, then he's going to go down in history as one of the great ones, one of the peacemakers, selfless peacemakers. And they all had their faults too, so don't idolize and lionize them, because, lionize them, yes, but don't put them up on a deified level, because Gandhi had his trips. He wasn't exactly peaches and cream all the time, and he did strange things. And this guy, Amrullah Saleh, might have his things. I'm sure he's probably corrupt to a certain extent, because they have to be. Now, another reason I think this Yaqub character is going to be the one to be fed to the wolves is because they always do that. If you go back in history, there was the Iranian Revolution. Now, Khomeini, Ayatollah Khomeini. Now, there's a name that goes down and people remember it. So that's one thing about Iran, is they got names that, you remember. Ayatollah Khomeini. He didn't look like a nice guy when he got off that plane coming to Iran to take over the reins of power. He had been in exile, and he looked like somebody that was not going to listen to reason of any kind. And we didn't even know who he was. Most Americans had no idea who that guy was until he got off that plane and waved at the crowd and said, "I'm back." And by "I'm back," I mean, I'll be back. They had a revolution, and they had moderates, and the moderates talked to the media in America, and they explained how it was going to be an Islamic republic, but it was still going to be a reasonable entity to deal with. And they had their suits on, and they were trying to be as diplomatic as they could and talk so that, we weren't afraid. And guess what happened to the suits? Well, they were moderates, and they were not gonna, they believed in Khomeini as far as having a moderate, but a reasonable government, and no, they were executed. So, guys, Ted Koppel or whoever is talking to Goatsbade, which was the name of the, deputy, what have you, or spokesman or whatever, and he's like, well, yes, there's executions, but they're criminals who were going against, and they were rebels, and they were whatever. Then he ends up getting executed. So that's what happens. So it's going to be Yaqub. That's what I put my bet on. And we should have some sort of side bets going on who's going to kill who, but we don't really have time to set that up. Now, the other deputy, of course, is Sirajuddin Haqqani. Now, I was probably the first one to mention, besides Paki Sharma, that Haqqani was the founder of the Haqqani Network, which is a network of terrorists. So to say the Taliban is not going to harbor terrorists, they are terrorists in their high ranks, okay? Come on. You're getting tired. But, okay. Let's get back to petri dish of putrefied excrement of a diseased jackal, because he's going to really get tough now because of this these two explosions. And he took out one guy already. So he's gone. That planner is gone. So we can rest easy. No other planners. Now he's going to do airstrikes, and he's going to do some surgical strikes, I guess, which means innocent people are going to die all over the place. And he's going to take out a group that's, there's 3 guys that look like they're, Taliban, and they're dressed like U.S. soldiers, so they must be Taliban, so we'll kill them. Oh, oops, they were U.S. soldiers. See, he wanted to end the war, the so-called war, and by doing that, and the way he's doing it is taking out all the troops and then waiting for all hell to break loose and then send in the troops again. And apparently he is doing this because he had a long discussion with the powers that be, who are in charge of the military-industrial complex, the old guard. And they said, we're not making enough money here. You got to heat things up. Afghanistan is just a security operation now, and nothing has happened. Nobody's getting killed, so you better do something. And he said, aye, sir. And I will go right now, and I will end the war in Afghanistan so we can start it up again all fresh and new. And you guys will be very happy because we're going to buy all kinds of bombs from you. And and not only that, but we gave away all the other equipment, so we'll have to replace that. So you guys are in good shape. So he's doing a good job for them. Now, he wants to start the war up again, apparently. And I want to end with what disgusting spectacle I saw when I saw a young nice little haircut boy that was a Democrat congressman. Looks just like the haircut boy that's the NSA chief. They're very clean cut, and they look like they help old ladies across the street. Very nice. And he called Biden's strategy brilliant. Integrity. I don't know what he said. I didn't write it down because I was getting sick to my stomach. But he said that we invaded Afghanistan and Biden finally ended this awful war after 20 years. So he's parroting the same crap. It wasn't a war when Biden ended it. It was a security force which was working really well, and then he ended that and said, no more security for you, everybody. Get in the sewer. Get into the sewer canal, because that's where I'm sending you because of me being evil and beholden to old, crotchety people that won't be around much longer anyway. So they got nothing to lose by destroying the planet, the old pockmarked people. And the new guard won't know what to do because all they know is how to build a website, and they won't know anything with their trillions of dollars in their pocket. They'll probably end up doing something stupid like, let's send a manned, spacecraft to Mars, which I'm sure will be successful because we're so good at doing things. We're so good. But yeah. They're the proxy overlords. They are beholden to somebody bigger. And I don't want to think about what's going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months as far as the real overlord, because he may say, this is a perfect opportunity to pretty much do what I want. And that's just the way it is. That's just how it goes. Yeah, people think it's unthinkable, and I've seen some unthinkable things in the last 2 weeks. So don't say it's unthinkable. Don't say, the economy can't collapse. America's too big to fail. America's so big, and when it does fail, it's going to be a big thud. And I'm getting toward 15 minutes. I wish I could rail on, but there's another time and another place. I'll come back from work and I'll talk about the next explosion that'll be happening in the next 2 or 3 hours. So enjoy the day, everybody. Try your best to make it through the next 60 hours or so. And good luck in Louisiana, and I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, it's nature, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I wish you luck, and I hope that you can handle it well. I don't have much hope because with all the COVID and vaccines and everybody else being paranoid, it's going to be hard to see how people gather into arenas who are pretty much American refugees. And no doubt, I said there was 20 terrorists per state, so there's 20 people in Louisiana. I don't know if they're planning anything. I don't think I would be if I was a terrorist and a hurricane was coming toward the state. I don't think I'd think about anything at all. I'd just sit home and watch YouTube. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to be at work for 5 or 6 hours, and then I'll come back. And I'll talk about what the latest disaster was that hasn't happened yet. All right. Bye.